In 2004, Mel Gibson mortgaged his house and risked his entire fortune to make a film in dead languages that every studio rejected. It grossed $612 million and became the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time. But before Mel Gibson was famous, he only got into drama school because his sister secretly submitted an application behind his back. His family moved to Australia using $145,000 from his father's railroad injury lawsuit, and he was paid just $400 for his first film role. This is the story of Mel Gibson. Mel Columcille Gerard Gibson was born January 3, 1956, in Peekskill, New York, the sixth of 11 children in a devout Irish Catholic family. His father Hutton was a railroad brakeman. His mother Anne was Irish-born. On December 11, 1964, Hutton Gibson slipped on a steel platform covered in oil and snow while working for the New York Central Railroad. The injury to his back was severe enough to end his railroad career. The lawsuit went to court on February 7, 1968. 7 days later, the jury awarded Hutton Gibson $145,000, equivalent to over $1.3 million today. This windfall would change the Gibson family's destiny. Hutton immediately used the money to move his family, first to Ireland, then to Australia. The official reason? He believed the Australian military would reject his older sons for the Vietnam War draft, unlike the American military. Mel was 12 years old. But there was another reason. Hutton Gibson had appeared on Jeopardy! That same year, winning $4,680 plus a Tournament of Champions victory worth another $1,000 and a cruise to the West Indies. Between the lawsuit and game show winnings, the Gibsons had the means to start over. In Sydney, young Mel attended St. Leo's Catholic College and later Asquith Boys High School. After graduation, he had no clear direction. He considered becoming a chef, maybe a journalist. Acting wasn't even on his radar. But his sister had other plans. Without telling Mel, she submitted an application on his behalf to the National Institute of Dramatic Art, Australia's most prestigious drama school. NIDA had already produced Peter Finch and would later launch Cate Blanchett, Hugo Weaving, and Sam Worthington. When Mel found out about the application, he decided to audition anyway. Despite having zero acting experience, not even high school plays, he was accepted. His sister's secret intervention had changed everything. "I took up acting only because my sister submitted an application behind my back," Gibson later admitted. That single act of sibling interference would create one of Hollywood's most successful and controversial careers. At NIDA, Gibson threw himself into classical training. He played Romeo opposite future two-time Oscar nominee Judy Davis as Juliet. But his most memorable role was playing Queen Titania, in full drag, in an experimental production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. His roommate after graduation? A young Geoffrey Rush, who would later win an Oscar for Shine. They were broke actors together in a company called Jane Street, affiliated with NIDA. Two future Oscar winners sharing rent and struggling for roles. While still a student in 1977, Gibson made his film debut in Summer City, playing a surfer. His payment for this first movie role? $400. Not $400,000, just $400. After graduating from NIDA in 1977, Gibson joined the State Theatre Company of South Australia. He played Estragon opposite Geoffrey Rush in Waiting for Godot and Biff Loman in Death of a Salesman. The classical training was shaping a serious actor. In 1979, director George Miller was casting for a low-budget action film called Mad Max. Gibson auditioned and won the role of Max Rokitansky. The film was made for just 200,000 Australian dollars. Mad Max became one of the most profitable films ever made, grossing over $100 million worldwide. Gibson was suddenly an international action star. The sequel, Mad Max 2, released as The Road Warrior in America, made him a Hollywood commodity. Director Peter Weir cast him in Gallipoli in 1981, earning Gibson his first Australian Film Institute Best Actor award. This World War I drama proved he wasn't just an action hero, he was a serious actor with range. By Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome in 1985, Gibson earned his first $1 million salary. From $400 to $1 million in just 8 years, Hollywood agent Ed Limato signed him, and the American film industry came calling. Fast forward to 2003, Gibson had won 2 Oscars for Braveheart, starred in the Lethal Weapon franchise, and become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. But he had a vision for a film nobody wanted to make. The Passion of the Christ, a brutal depiction of Jesus' final 12 hours, filmed entirely in Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew. Every major studio rejected it. Too violent, too religious, no English, commercial suicide. Gibson's response? He funded it himself. He mortgaged his house, invested $30 million of his own money, and essentially bet his entire financial future on a film the industry said would end his career. The film opened February 25, 2004. It grossed $612 million worldwide, with $370 million in the US alone. It became the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time and made Gibson an estimated $300 to $400 million personally. The quiet drama student whose sister secretly submitted his application had become one of Hollywood's wealthiest and most polarizing figures. From $400 for his first role to hundreds of millions from his biggest gamble. Gibson's father, Hutton, who won that railroad lawsuit, lived to 101, passing away in 2020. He remained controversial for his extreme religious views, but that $145,000 lawsuit had launched a Hollywood dynasty. Today, Gibson owns properties in Malibu, Costa Rica, and a private island in Fiji he bought for $15 million. The boy who moved to Australia to avoid the draft had built a global empire. Love him or hate him, Mel Gibson's journey from secretly submitted drama school application to self-financed blockbuster director proves that sometimes the biggest risks and the most unlikely beginnings create the most extraordinary stories. If you want to discover more surprising celebrity origin stories, hit subscribe and let us know which star you want to see featured next on Before They Were Famous.